So just jumping on real quick, not really on social media much, but I felt the need to get on to encourage someone. About 2-3 months ago, the Holy Spirit came to me, woke me up, began to talk to me and told me not to lose focus. But one of the things that I've held on to the most was him letting me know I'm his prophet, that he's called me, that he's chosen me, and that there are too many attached to me for me to lose focus. Too many people, too much he's invested in me for me to lose focus. And I did not know from that day how much my life would change, how my life will alter as much as it has in these last 2 months, going on 3 months almost. But yes, it's been going on 3 months. Wow. But he just began to shift so many things around, and it's been uncomfortable. It's been challenging. It's been overwhelming. But the pressure has caused me to grow. The pressure has caused me to mature. The pressure has caused me to examine myself. The pressure has caused me to spiritually be elevated in so many ways. So the first thing is, I want you to not despise the uncomfortability, the mistreatment, the rejection, the breakups, the heartache, do not despise those pushbacks. Do not despise those fiery darts, because it's causing you to grow, it's causing you to mature, it's causing you to become who you've always intended to be, who God has always intended you to be. You may not understand where you are right now. I do not quite understand where I am, but I am understanding who I am. Okay, so last night, I stumbled across 1 Samuel while I was writing my scriptures off. I was looking for certain scriptures, and something just unctioned me to read it. I am not I don't know every book. I know certain stories in the book, but sometimes I don't know exactly where they are. I happened to I think I've read up to the 3rd chapter, but in the 1st chapter, I began to read about Hannah. And something shifted in me when I got to the part where she left her and Elkanah and them. I think they went up to Ramah. Let me pull it up so I can see it. Starting at 9. Shiloh. They ate in Shiloh. I'm going to read it from 9, I think it was, till 14. But it says, so Hannah rose up after they had eaten in Shiloh and after they had drunk. Now Eli the priest sat upon a seat by a post of the temple of the Lord. And she was in bitterness of soul and prayed unto the Lord and wept sore. And when she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but will give unto thine handmaid a man child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. And it came to pass, as she continued praying before the Lord, that Eli marked her mouth. Now Hannah, she spake in her heart, only her lips moved, but her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli thought she had been drunken. And Eli said unto her, how long wilt thou be drunken? Put away thy wine from thee. And Hannah answered and said, no, my Lord, I am a woman of a sorrowful spirit. I have drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but have poured out my soul before the Lord. Count not thine handmaid for a daughter of Belial, for out of the abundance of my complaint and grief have I spoken hitherto. Then Eli answered and said, go in peace, And the God of Israel grant thee thy petition that thou hast asked of him. And she said, let thine handmaid find grace in thy sight. So the woman went her way and did eat. And her countenance was no more sad. And they rose up in the morning early and worshiped before the Lord, and returned and came to the house to Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah, his wife, and the Lord remembered her. Wherefore it came to pass, when the time was come about after Hannah had conceived, that she bare a son, and called his name Samuel, saying, because I have asked him of the Lord. I'm just stop right there. I read from 9 to 19. 1 Samuel 1, 9 to 19. And I began to read this chapter. First, it was the fact of the remember me. So I had to remember who I was first. And while I was reading it, I had to ask God, remember your prophet. Because he told me that's who I was. God, I am sorrowful in heart. I am heavy in heart. I am heavy burdened. I am overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. I don't know which way to turn. I don't know which way to go. I'm not sure if I'm hearing you clearly, because the instructions you are giving me is only bringing me more warfare. What happens when the Lord shuts your womb? In the previous verses, it said that Elkanah knew the Lord had shut Hannah's womb. What happens when the Lord is the one? So Hannah, knowing she couldn't eat, she couldn't fellowship, she had to separate herself. And she found herself on the threshing floor, where the priest Eli sat at the door, where he can see her. And he heard her words. And that was the thing that baffled. He heard her words, but her mouth was moving, but nothing was coming out. I have been in a season where my mouth was moving, but my words were not interpreted through English. I haven't been able to pray. All I could do was pray in tongues. My English language could not describe what I was carrying, what I've been feeling. And I saw myself as Hannah on that floor. That God, I am your prophet. Hear me, O Lord. Let me find favor in your sight, O Lord. And it said the priest heard her, and he thought she was drunk. There may be some people who think you are delirious. They may think that you're making the worst decisions. They may think that what God is doing, they may not understand it. They may misconstrue it. I think that's the word, misconstrued it. It sounds wrong, but it sounds right. They may mix it up. But I come to encourage you, to let you know that so be it. What you requested of the Lord. But no, let me go back. Hannah said, if you give it to me, I'll give you even that back. God is waiting for some of you to hand the promise back to him. God, if you give me the promise, I'll give it back to you. God has already given us instructions. God has already given us words. God has already given us prophetic dreams, prophetic words, declaration, whatever it is. But if you're not willing to give it back to him, she said, I won't even defile it. Oh, Jesus. Because I know it's you that shut it up. I know it's you that cut it off. I know it's you that keeps separating me from it. Because I believe he needed Hannah to get in a place of persistent prayer. Eli said, God has heard your petition. You have been making your petition made known before the Lord in persistent prayer. You may have to speak in tongues. You may not have words to say. You may not have a language to give it but your heavenly tongues. But God is sending a voice. Maybe it's even mine in this video to tell you your petition has been made known to the Father. Eli said, so be it. Hannah's countenance changed. Yesterday, I was sitting at the table eating, and I felt such a heaviness on me that really didn't even have an appetite to eat. I really couldn't wrap my brain around God. I don't know what you need me to do. I don't know what you require of me, what more that I need to do. And my eyes began to fill up, and I got in here and I began to read 1 Samuel. And I knew then what I had to do. I had to petition him as a servant. God, I'm yours. I belong to you. I don't belong to the circumstance. I don't belong to the situation. I belong to you. And I don't know who is trying to figure out what next. But if you remember who you are, if you remember the words God has given you and petition from that place and say, God, I give it back to you. I'm not trying to figure it out. I'm not trying to jump through hoops. I'm not trying to force. I'm not trying to manipulate. I'm not trying to, well, if I do, no, God. If you give it to me, I'll give it back to you. If you cause me to birth what the enemy keeps making me miscarry, matter of fact, no. What I keep miscarrying, if I bring it to you, I'll be able to birth it. I won't even give any credit to the enemy on this. This is all God for you to grow. This is all God for you to be birthed in this season. You've been behind schedule. We've been delayed. But Hannah conceived. Elkanah knew her and she could see. God remembered who, that when she got in the place to conceive, some of you are going to conceive in fasting and praying. Some of you are going to conceive in your closet. And when you get in the place of conception, God is going to remember you. Oh, Namando Sotaya. Mando Oso Rebehe. When you get back to the place where you birthed it the last time, God is going to remember you. So Hannah conceived, and she bare a son and named him Samuel. I don't know what it is, but whatever it is, if you get back to the place of conception, if you get back to the place of prayer, fasting, in your word, you're going to conceive the promise. Listen, I woke up this morning, and the very thing I said I was not going to worry about, the very thing I gave back to him, I received a phone call. And I didn't even know I received the Eli, some help. I received some help. That what I was burdened with and what I was heavy laden with, God opened the door for me quickly. Talking about 8:30 this morning. I got some good news, Rashida. I don't want you to be weary in well-doing. It is some of you guys' due season. It is our due season. So and you just got to get back into the place of conception. I keep it. You got to get back to the place where you conceived. If you conceived it in prayer, you got to get back to the place where you birth. If you coupled it with fasting and prayer, you got to get back to the place. You have to. I can't thank him enough for the many ways that he makes for me. I can't. So be encouraged. And get back to the place of prayer and fasting. So what is not going right? It's not to kill you. It's not to break you down. It's not that God isn't listening. It's not that God doesn't hear you. He hears you. He just not going to speak till you get back to the place. I literally felt like, I was like, God, you're not talking to me like you used to. I hear you, but you're not talking to me like you used to. I had to get back to the place. Matter of fact, I couldn't even go back to the same place. I had to do more than what I did the first time. I had to do what I did the first time plus some. So be encouraged. And I pray this helps somebody. You're wondering why it's not happening. And you wonder, let it go. Give it to him. Give yourself to him. Ask for clarity, instructions, and get back to the place of conception so that you can conceive the promise, so that you can bear the promise. You stop praying. You stop fasting. He just wants you in his presence. He just wants you in his presence. So it may seem like everything is going, but if this is what it takes to get you back, oh Jesus. If this is what it takes to get you back in my presence, then you're going to have to suffer. But when you come out, you'll be holy. You'll be anointed. You'll be stronger. You'll be wiser. You'll be a weapon fit for the kingdom. Count it all joy. Count it all. Count it all joy. What you're carrying, count it joy. It's still happening. It was God who shut up Hannah's womb. But it was God who came in her place of persistent prayer, persistent petition, who also filled her womb to conceive. I pray this word blesses you. In Jesus' name, I love you.